Okay, so last class we had actually discussed about the overall project cycle, focusing upon the initial steps, few things which we really talk about when we talk about the AI project cycle. Now, today we focus upon the data modeling phase in detail because you have in your syllabus, there are few things in the data modeling part which we did not do in detail last year. So we'll do it this time, data modeling and evaluation. These two steps in detail needs to be done this year for the exam. Okay. Now, as we know that data modeling is, that phase now that your model is supposed to be prepared. Your AI model is supposed to be prepared. So you have to think about a approach. Okay. What approach you want to follow to create your data model, to create your AI model. That is what is the thing which we have to decide here. Now, as per the rules, there are two, as per the system, there are two methods of, there are two approaches which we follow. Number one being the rule-based approach, and the other one is the learning approach. Now, in the case of rule-based approach, as I know that in this case, we specify the rules to the system based on the data. That if this happens, you do this. If this happens, you do this. If this happens, you do this. Okay? We would tell each and every rule to him, each and every case to him, and based on which he's supposed to take the decision. Okay? Whereas in the other, which actually becomes very static. That if anything other than those cases happen, then what is to be done? Moreover, the system is not gaining any experience. He is not really learning anything out of it. He has the predefined rules given, and based on that, he is doing the work. So he's really not gaining anything out of it. Okay, he's not maturing. That is the problem. Now, the other approach focuses on this aspect of it, that the machine should mature with every single instance of work he's doing. And that's my learning approach. The second approach which we can follow. Obviously, learning approach models are going to be more complex than the rule-based approach, because rule-based approach have everything pre-decided, pre-fed. So it's simple, but doesn't really make the machine intelligent, right? With time. So that is why the learning approach is complex, but it is actually what we want out of the AI system. Because in this case, we fed the data and let the machine design its own algorithm or rules that what he wants to follow. And based on that, he will now take the decision. Okay. So those are the two approaches, first of all, which we talk about in terms of the first step, that, okay, what exactly do I want to do? Now, as we say, the rule-based system is like very simple if then else approach. I tell him that if this happens, this is what you need to do. And what is the technique we use in this case? We use a decision tree to represent the set of rules and what needs to be done for every particular case. We had actually done the decision tree last year also. But just a quick overview if we take about it, that you have a decision node, that from where your decision is starting, and then you make separate cases, and every case is like question conditions are like your decision nodes. If this, then this. If this, then what? If then this. If is sorry. If this, then again you check another if condition. Again you check another if condition, like that. Ultimately, your actions are these leaf nodes. That what needs to be done. So decision one, if this is happening, okay, he comes inside. If this is happening, in that case, he will try to check out these two leaf nodes and work accordingly. If this is happening, Then again he takes, this particular execution, or else he'll come and check this decision, and based on yes and no, he will work on these two nodes. Okay, so leaf nodes are the actions, and the root as well as the decision nodes are my questions, conditions, as we call it, that what needs to be done, right? We did a few examples too. Same examples I've taken up from your class 9th stuff, so that you can correlate with it easily. We had done these examples talking about that the person has to decide whether the machine has to decide whether the person is fit or not. So he has been given conditions like if the age is less than 30, if he eats a lot of pizza, then he is unfit. If he is less than 30 but doesn't eat a lot of pizzas, he is fit. If the age is not less than 30 but more than 30, then in that case, we check for whether he exercises in the morning or not. If yes, he is fit. If no, he is unfit. Right? So based on these questions, the system will ask for input. He'll ask the age, he'll ask whether you eat pizzas or not, whether you exercise in the morning or not, based on your age specification. And then accordingly, tell you, okay, whether you are this or not. So it's just a rule-based approach where we specify the rules, and based on that, system tells you the action to be taken. There is no learning involved in this at all by the system. Okay. So if we move further, okay, before we move further, then I should say that we talk about the rules, the limitations of the rule-based approach. As we can see that it's fixed rules. Okay. Then there are, though, complex domains you can check in this. Simple domains, simple conditions, yes. But in some situations where your even the rules, even your conditions vary a lot, there's not a direct yes and no approach. Okay, it's all dependent on the yes and no thing. If it's yes, then you do this. If it's no, then you do this. But if in certain cases you do not have a yes and no case, it's like partial, it is like sometimes, then what? Okay, so these kind of, because every time life is not yes and no, right? We say no, black and white characters are not there always. You have gray shades also. So there's nothing for those gray shades, which is not natural. You definitely have people with gray shades. Everybody is not completely villain and completely, good. It's not like that. So similarly, in this case also, it's very difficult. You will not have majority cases as these kind of simple yes no approaches, yes no conditions. That's why it is limited to how much it can really work. But the next part of it is your learning based approach. In the case of learning based approach, we have the machine learning and the deep learning part, but initially we focus on the machine learning itself. Right now, machine learning is just the way humans will think and work, because it will learn. One decision done, one day, one work done, you are experienced with that work, isn't it? Anna, next time you don't have to really think and calculate and do all that and check all the conditions to take a decision regarding that. Why? Because you've already done it before and you are aware. Okay, na? So it's not the same process being followed every time once you know about it also. Like in the case of in our case, how we work. So similarly, we try to make the machine also learn with time. Right. So here we say it is a concept which allows the machine to learn from examples, and that too without being explicitly programmed. So instead of writing the code, you feed into it a generic algorithm, an algorithm which can build logic on its own. वो एक एक केस को handle करता जाएगा and it will be able to create its own conditions and actions. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. There are few people in the waiting room. Why wasn't it showing me the message? Thank you, Ashutosh, for informing. Generally, it prompts. Okay. They have actually turned in at the right time, because this part is the significant portion here, what we are doing now. Okay, so here we are talking about the learning-based approach. And in the learning-based approach, we are saying that machine learning does what? Machine learning means you're trying to make the machine learn with every activity you're doing. Okay, every example you execute, the machine learns. Every example you execute, the machine learns. And he keeps on developing his own algorithm, just the way your mind works. Right? So for understanding a machine learning AI model, we have to first understand the kinds of learning we are expecting from him and the way he is going to learn those concepts. Right? So here we have the learning types, and there are 3 types of learning. This we did in the last year a little bit. Do you remember? Supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. Right? We did these 3 learning. Supervised means that you have it all labeled and task driven, and you can easily say, okay, if this is happening, then next thing will be this. Everything is specified, labeled. Unsupervised, it's like dhundo. You yourself learn. A lot of things you learn, whether it's useful or not. A lot of things you're picking up and then sorting it. Then figuring out, okay, what is required. And in the case of reinforcement learning, we say that, okay, if I have done a mistake last time, so algorithm keeps a note that whether I was correct in that example or not. If not, then I learn for my next time also, that I learned from my mistake. So whenever you are learning from your previously committed mistake, we are saying you're doing a reinforcement learning. Okay. So these are the 3 types of learning. Now, based on these 3 types of learning, we have to go a little further and talk about the kinds of algorithm which works on it. Right? So I think this was the last thing we did about the modeling part last year. That here we discussed about supervised learning has got pre-labeled data, and you have classification and regression algorithms applicable here. Unsupervised learning has got non-labeled data. Now, if you don't remember labeled data and non-labeled data, don't worry. I'm just coming up with those part. And here we had the clustering algorithms, and reinforcement learning is like a feedback. It's a feedback to yourself. You gave a test and you didn't score well in few portions, a few questions you made mistakes. So you know, okay, I have to redo this chapter. It's like a feedback based learning, right? So rewards and recommendation algorithms are working here. We really don't talk about this because syllabus doesn't talk about that in detail. We mainly focus on supervised and unsupervised learning and their corresponding algorithms. Okay. Now from here we proceed to the supervised learning in detail. So in this case, what we are talking about is the supervised learning models में what all things is coming into play. Now, one highlight of supervised model you have to remember is that your data is labeled. Okay. So when you are giving your system something and your data is labeled, that is, you have mentioned everything to him regarding the data. Okay. Like you are talking about seasons. So here you have said that, okay, I'm talking about summers, and summers may you have, light cotton shirts, and you have got breezy material, and you've got sun blazing, and you've got these kind of things you've told him about summers, all features and characteristics. So he has a labeled set of information. Like summers के लिए ये information है, winters के लिए ये information है, spring के लिए ये information है. And so very easily when he is going to pick up something, he is going to easily able to, he would be able to classify the data very well. That okay, this goes into summer, this goes into winter, this goes into spring, and this goes into autumn. So even you can see the pictorial representation of the model, which needs to be remembered for understanding also. It's easy to understand from there that you have, when you represent and the data you've collected, it's very easy. It's classified that this portion is talking about something and this portion is talking about something. And it's separate, absolutely. Summer ka data ke saath, it will not get confused and do the winter, exchange it with winter heading. Your data is labeled. So anywhere you talk about labeled data, discrete data, we are talking about classification. Okay, so that's the first model we use in the supervised learning. Classify. Simple. We tell them the labels like grades of students. So in the grades of student with respect to the marks. So if it is 80 to 90, the grade is A. So A is a label which refers to this set of marks. B is a label which refers to 80 to 90. C is a label which refers to 70 to 80. So it's marked, told to him. Based on that, he's able to learn and act. Basically. That's my classification model. Now, sometimes we cannot very typically label the things. It's not possible always. What kind of situation that might be? It works on continuous data sets. Data aata ja raha hai with different values. There is no specific specific tagging. Tagging is there, but there's no specific tagging actually. Data is varying. You can see again here that demarcation is not there. Specific demarcation you're not able to do. It's a continuous data set. It's labeled like, okay, it's near this or near that, but it is continuous. You don't have a, you can say fixed labels are not there. Now, what kind of example of data could be like that? I've tried to pick up a few, like stock exchange data set. It's not very XYZ Q, right? It keeps on varying. Abhi idhar gaya, fir idhar gaya, fir idhar gaya, fir idhar gaya. The value keeps on varying. Real estate price predictions. Here there'll be a lot of factors and a lot of things, and the variation also will be huge. Medical insurance cost. Again, medical insurance cost varies on, based on lots and lots of factors. You are really not having very fixed labels here, fixed values here. It's working on your continuous data set. Like I wish to predict my next salary. So I'll be seeing all my previous year's salaries, my increments, everything. I give it to him to train the model. And it's like, every month ka data I give him, depending upon this month, what tax is deducted, what insurance is deducted, this, that, everything I give it to him. It's a continuous data set. ऐसा fixed सा नहीं है. Okay. So that is my second algorithm which I use here in the case of supervised learning model. Let's continue now with the unsupervised model. Now, unsupervised says that there are no labeling being done. They are completely unlabeled data set. Fine. So data fed into the model is random. Whatever you get, you feed. Whatever you get, you feed. And then, what is the purpose of this model then? Itna random data leke, what is he going to do? He is going to identify the trends, the patterns, the relationship, and then learn out of it. Like you can say that you have fed into your machine the sale of crackers or the rise of pollution level in Delhi and Delhi NCR. So इसके लिए you fed in lot of data to him. Your stubble burning data, coming air quality, this, that, falana, lot of things you've fed in. So from there, the machine is expected to identify the trend pattern that, okay, every year during onset of winters and in a specific temperature, when the temperature is like in between 25 to 35, majorly this thing is happening. Or in the month of October to January, majorly it is happening. Then the trend is reducing, or the air quality is improving, as we said. Okay, so it is majorly because it is completely unlabeled sets of information. Lots and lots of bulk of information you're giving him, but nothing is classified. And a classification में क्या हो जाता है? You're able to, like, you have got 3 buckets available with 3 different labels, and you're given an item, and you're able to put into them. So machine को भी पता है कि अगर ऐसा है तो इसमें डालो, ऐसा है तो इसमें डालो, ऐसा है तो इसमें डालो. He is able to identify your data according to the labels given to him. But unlabeled may, you are expecting the machine himself to pick up, understand, and give his output on that. And what all output it can give? It can identify overall trends, patterns, relationships from the data you are providing. Right? So that is the purpose of the unsupervised learning models. Unsupervised learning models में हम क्या कर रहे हैं? We are majorly doing clustering. We find out a common pattern out of the data and then classify. Classification इसमें भी हो रहा है, but based on a overall feature, not specific feature. Overall, like we can say in this, as per this graph also, like, okay, something less than, you can say, sorry, I'm really bad at this particular, use of this thing. So something like more than a particular value, if I'm talking of, so I'm accordingly grouping. Less than a particular value, if I'm talking about, I am accordingly grouping. Dark colors, light colors, you could say. I think that's going to be a good example. Dark colors and light colors, okay, accordingly data ko de diya. Dark में it can be very dark, less dark, mediocre dark, and a lot of things. You have to see, you have to analyze and decide and kind of give it a group. So clustering, grouping. Clustering का main idea दिमाग में रखना, that is grouping. Because we don't have specified labels. It's not specific. It is like a output is going to be a grouped value. It is basically a collection of objects on the basis of similarity, dissimilarity between them. ये चीज इसमें आ जाइए सारा. You can say like for the food items, I'm doing a classification, I'm doing a clustering of perishable items and non-perishable items. So all the things which are like fridge के बाहर रखेंगे and it'll go खराब हो जाएगा. So that is going to be the perishable items. अब उसमें समझो, ढूंढो. It's not a direct thing you're able to do. Certain things could be that within an hour खराब हो जाए. Certain things could be कि 4 घंटे में जाके खराब हो, if you're not putting it in the fridge. है ना? So based on similarities between them, based on dissimilarities between them, I kind of group them. I don't classify them, I group them. Please understand the difference. I don't classify them, but I group them. Okay? Talking about another kind of algorithm is that to understand the data, what does he do? He can do one more thing. One is that he can do clustering. Another thing is very interesting out here, that to get some features about it, he is doing a dimension reduction. What is that? Very interesting thing. Dimension reduction means 3D data को 2D में convert करा. Okay, so you get something about it. You get to know something about it at least. To get some idea. Right? Like I've given 2 pictures here. This is your, the cube which we talked about. Now, इसमें I first convert this is a 2D figure. The first figure you're seeing is a 2D figure, X, Y, Z. All three axes can be given for it, X and Y and Z, right? But then I reduce that figure into that, you can say the example which has been given to me in a 2D, X and Y. Further reducing into a single dimension. Okay, to understand and extract information out of it better, to learn for it better. कि चलो 2D में समझ नहीं आ रहा है. Let me work out on the single dimension, content of it. Let's convert that into a 3D, say 2D, 2D, say 1D, and get some understanding of it. Like if you talk about a ball in hand, it's a 3D image versus a picture of ball on the paper. That's a 2D image. So 2D में क्या हो गया? Your understanding and learning and everything gets reduced, na? 3D में obviously you have to be more particular about what all things you are picking up. क्योंकि जब 2D में हमने डाल दिया, so that thing is reducing. The learning also for that thing is reducing because one dimension is completely removed. Okay, so this method also he might follow in order to learn, in order to understand. Dimensional reduction he might do. He might cluster. He might group the data in order to get some sense out of it, in order to understand the data. Okay, in the case of unsupervised learning. Whereas when you talk about supervised learning, where you have labeled data sets, in the case of unsupervised, it's unlabeled data set. In the case of your supervised learning, you got labeled data sets. Labeled, maybe you have one thing which is fixed sets. You can say discrete data, only 0 and 1, only X and Y, only hot and cold, only winter, summer, fixed. You have labels. In that case, that is the model being used is, the algorithm being used is your classification one. And there, when you have certain things which are not fixed, you have a continuously varying data. Abhi 24 to 25 to 28 to 30 to 100 to 40, it's completely varying. And there's no fixed set of labels which you can make for it. Then you go for the regression algorithm.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
I
know it's time. Yeah.
Ma'am, in this Rubik's Cube example, ma'am, we converted the 3D figure into the 2D figure, and then further we converted the 2D figure into 1D figure.
Yes. There is going to be information loss. But in a situation where you cannot make anything out of that 2D figure, maybe something you can make out of that 1D figure. I mean 3D to 2D when you're converting. Then in the dimension reduction, you definitely have data loss. Obvious है ना, because वो one dimension तो छोड़ ही दिया आपने. There is definitely data loss, but at least we are using this because that is something I gain out of it, if not complete information.